Hello everybody, it's Naeche from ToluNaeche signing in by myself this time, but as most of you know, it's been a really busy summer for both Tolu and myself. Most of you saw on probably like Instagram, if you don't follow me, follow me. But you probably saw on Instagram or Snapchat that I studied abroad this summer. I went to Spain and I did a study abroad program in Spain. But like while I was in Spain, you know, Europe is like so huge and there's so many countries to visit, so I took advantage of that and I visited a few other countries in Europe as well. But I'm back now. I'm back in America doing my legal internship. We have an internship video coming out for you guys soon talking about how to get an internship, etc. But for now, I just want to talk to you guys about the things that I learned when I was studying abroad, because I've been abroad with like family and stuff like that, but I've never really been by myself, you know. So I want to talk to you guys about some of the things that I learned about visiting a new country, and just I want to share my experience and talk about how I got to study abroad and all those things. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay, so I studied abroad in Spain for about 6 weeks, but I forgot to mention Tolu was totally in Spain as well through a Wharton program. She was there for 2 weeks. So Wharton has these programs and you can apply for them. It doesn't matter what college you're in. You could be in like the College of Arts and Sciences, nursing, anything, and you can apply for these trips that Wharton goes on. But yeah, there's definitely other opportunities to study abroad, even if it's just for a short amount of time. Like they went on like tours and things like that. So it wasn't really studying abroad. She was there for like business with Wharton. However, Wharton does do a lot of international places you can visit as well. Yeah, so Tolu was in Spain as well. We weren't there at the same time, but we both went to Spain. So I applied to this program called Penn in Madrid. So Penn has this huge like database of like all these countries that they have like study abroad programs in. So basically like they have a website and you just find the country you want to go to and they like have a program for it. I want to minor in Spanish because I'm trying to learn Spanish for legal reasons, yada yada yada, for my future. And I was like, okay, what's a good way to learn Spanish? Immerse yourself in a country where everyone speaks Spanish, and then you have to speak Spanish. So I applied through Penn Study Abroad programs, and I applied to Penn in Madrid. And I signed up to take 2 classes there. They're like advanced, they were 2 advanced classes out there in Spain. Signed up to take those, and I went to Spain for 6 weeks. So that's like the how-to. Penn has so many programs. No matter what school you go to, like all colleges have study abroad programs that you can apply to. So just look into the country you want to go to, make sure to like reach out and see what study abroad programs there are. Sometimes they have them for like 6 weeks. Sometimes they have semester programs. So one thing that I can say, like before I even get into all the detail, is that I wish that I would have done a semester program. I just feel as if it would have been more fulfilling. I would have learned more. I would have like been in Spain for a longer amount of time. I just felt like 6 weeks wasn't enough for me. But everyone's different. I have friends who were fine with 6 weeks. So it just depends on the type of person you are. But I feel like with the money I had to spend, I think it was way more worth it to have done a semester. So in terms of money, if you get financial aid from your college, then if you do the semester-long study abroad, which is like the full semester, then your financial aid transfers to your study abroad program. So if you get financial aid, you'll get financial aid abroad. The 6-week program, like over summer, it's just like taking summer classes. They don't give financial aid. They might, you really have to work for it and go to the financial aid office, but every time I went, they're like, we don't give financial aid, da 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 da. But I know other people who did get a little bit of financial aid out of them. There's scholarships as well. I have a friend, she didn't get any of the scholarships even though she applied to them. So I'm just like being like harsh reality. It's hard to get aid to study abroad over summer. The summer session, it's very difficult to get money. I know a lot of people who didn't do the summer session because it was like over $10,000. Some people took out loans. It just depends on how you can pay for it. So that's one thing. The number one tip that I have and that I want everyone to know is that this is pricey. It's very pricey. So I think it was over $10,000 for the program, right? And like the program itself is like $10,000. You have to pay. You still have to buy your plane ticket to get to whatever country you're going to, and then your host family feeds you breakfast and dinner every day. However, you have to buy your lunch every day. My family had a mix up and they didn't know they were supposed to feed us on the weekends, so some weekends we didn't get fed. So in the morning in Spain, they don't do big breakfast. So we had like a piece of fruit, like a little bit of juice, like, you know, just something small. It's not like sit down, eat toast, like all that. No, like that's not how they eat in Spain in the morning. So you just have to be prepared for whatever culture you're about to immerse yourself in. So for lunchtime every day, we're not allowed to cook in your host family's home. So what are we gonna eat for lunch? So every single day we went out for lunch. Like we went out and ate lunch like every day. And that gets pricey. It gets so expensive. These are all things I was not aware of before I went to freaking Europe. But it gets pricey, okay? So paying for lunch every day, yeah, got really expensive. And then not being able to cook, so I was like, oh, we can buy groceries, maybe cook. No, like the only things you could buy are like maybe like salads, like lunch meat and bread and stuff like that, things that you don't use the stove for, like because you're not allowed to cook in your host family's house. So number one thing that I need to like emphasize is that study abroad over summer, the summer session gets so pricey. And being in Europe is expensive. So it just depends on like, you know, I don't know. For me, I was just taking like, I was like, oh my goodness, this is way more expensive than I thought it was. On top of the money I had to pay for the program, when I got to Europe, it was expensive. So you just have to budget and know beforehand how much money you're about to pay to study abroad. Okay, and then tip number 2, you need to know the type of person you are before you go abroad. A lot of people say you learn a lot about yourself when you study abroad because, for example, I live in California, but I go to school in Philly, so I'm away from my family like the whole year. I barely see them. I'm used to it, you know? However, I have friends who went abroad and they're always with their family, like they're close to their siblings, they talk all the time, so it's different, okay? 6 weeks is a long time to not be with your family if you're not used to that. So you might get homesick, you might miss America, like, you know, that's normal. People like, you know, it's just like human emotion, like you miss being home. Even if you think you might not miss like being home, like sometimes I was like, oh, like I wish I was home, like in Spain, like I have to do this, I wish I was home, like, you know, it's just little things. But you should know the type of person you are because you might miss your family. You might not think so before you go, but you might end up being really homesick sometimes, but it's one of the phases of traveling abroad. You get homesick at one point, but I don't know, I got over it. I wasn't really homesick, but I know people that were, so you just have to know the type of person you are. And if you think you can't be away from your family for like long periods of time, then maybe the summer session is for you, 6 weeks, or like the Wharton 2-week trips, like, you know, you just want a little taste of abroad but don't want to like be stuck there if you don't like it, like, you know. So 6 weeks wasn't too bad for me, but that's like a month and a half away from your family. A semester would be like being at school, but you're just in another country, so being away from your friends. Like, you just have to know the type of person you are. But people get homesick. Okay, so something that I really want to emphasize about studying abroad, right? So when I signed up to study abroad, I was like, oh my goodness, like I'm traveling to Europe, I'm going to Spain, I'm gonna go to this country and that country, and this and that. And then I got to Spain, right? And then the professors from Penn were sending these emails like, okay, students, so you guys have class on Monday. And I was like, class? They're like, make sure you have your textbooks. And I was like, textbooks? Like, when I tell you, my brain literally like pushed out the study part of study abroad, and I was so excited to just go abroad. Like, I totally forgot I was going there to study. Like, I forgot I had to go to class. So for my experience, I had class Monday through Thursday. My first class was from 10 to 12, and then another class from 12 to 2. So just 4 hours of the day. It felt way longer. It felt so much longer. But yeah, two-hour classes every day. It's not that bad. But it felt like, you know, I was in a different country and I had to get up every morning to go to class. Oh my goodness. But like, you just have to like make the best of everything and remember that you're going there to study. My friends and I, though, like, it got to a point where, like, I don't know, Spanish doesn't come very easily to me, so I was struggling. I was like taking advanced classes, so I was struggling a little bit. It was like a lot of information, like learning a semester's amount of work in just a short 6 weeks. It got overwhelming to me, and I felt like the work was so much. So at one point, like, I was stressed. I was like, this is too much, like, I can't do this. But then, like, my friends and I, like, me and 2 other girls lived in the same house, the girls that were in the almost detained in Paris video. We lived in the same house, and it was like, at one point we were like, is it that deep? Like, why are we about to like cry over homework and we are in Europe? Like, you just don't. One of the biggest things I can think, like, I realized looking back is that I was there to study, yes, but I wasn't just there to study. Okay, so like, it doesn't make sense for me to have been doing homework for like 5 hours like a day, like one day, if I'm in a different country. Like, do your homework, study, but don't stress yourself out about it that much, because the teachers are really, my teachers were really lenient. They were nice. They understood that it was a lot of work, but I was there like penning me. I was like, oh my goodness, I have to get all this done. Like, I have to know all of this. Like, you know, it's not that deep, and the teachers are understanding. So yeah, like, make sure you're getting, like, you're doing the homework right, but don't like stress out so much over the homework when you're in another country. You're studying abroad, but half of that is like having fun and experiencing the country you're in. It doesn't make sense to be locked up in like your host family's home for 5 hours doing homework when you could be going outside to see the city, you know? So definitely don't stress out about homework that much. Like, it'll be hard in the moment, but don't stress about homework like too much. Do your homework, but don't stress about it too much. Remember that you're there to also have fun. Okay, and then like I said, when I studied abroad, I was in Spain. Spain is in Europe, and there's so many other places to see in Europe, and I had never really been to Europe, so it was like perfect to like see so many other countries. Now, when I went to Europe, I didn't really like plan ahead of all the trips I wanted to take. We were just like, we want to go to Paris, we gotta go to Barcelona, we gotta we just like talked about everywhere we wanted to go, but we didn't really plan it out ahead of time, because we were spending a lot of money ahead of time on like clothes and like textbooks and like flight to Spain, and like then we ended up like sitting at home, me and the girls, we were like, okay, we should go to Paris this week. And the whole week we'd be like, we're gonna go to Paris, we're gonna go to Paris. Day before we're supposed to go to Paris, we're like, yo, are we going to Paris? We buy the tickets the day before and get lucky with like prices that weren't too crazy. Bought our tickets to Paris like a day before and the hotel, and that was just luck. But definitely plan your trips ahead of time. It'll be cheaper. You'll be less stressed if you plan your trips ahead of time. If we would have planned Paris like 2 weeks before, at least 2 weeks before, or when we bought Spain tickets, we should have bought the Paris tickets too. Like, you know, if I tried to go to Paris right now from LA, it'd be over $1,000. So imagine being able to go to Paris for $200, go to Portugal for $300. You know, just being able to like plan all those trips ahead of time will save you money, and it'll save you time and save you stress. And when I tell you we stressed out so much because we didn't have all our weekends set, like we got there, all our weekends were empty, and then it'd be the week of and we're trying to buy tickets. Like, please plan your trips ahead of time. It makes everything easier. You have time to research things. Like, if we would have bought Paris tickets like a month before or something, maybe we could have researched the metro before we were stuck in the metro by the police. Like, you know, just like give yourself enough time to plan the place you're going to and research the place you're going to, not sitting on the train to the place trying to learn everything about it. You know, it's so much more effective and efficient that way. So plan ahead of time. That's one of the biggest problems we had, planning ahead of time. It worked out in our favor at the end. However, I would not recommend the stress we went through trying to plan trips a day, 2 days before we went. Okay, and then another tip that I have, like, not just going to Spain, but if you're leaving America or leaving your home country and going anywhere, I think the best advice, like one of the best things you can do, is don't be afraid to try new things. Okay, you're going to someone else's homeland, you're going to this new country, like you wanted to study abroad and leave like your comfortable America for like, you know, a number of reasons. But when you get to the other country, don't be afraid to try their food, don't be afraid to do what the locals do, you know. Like, be open and like enjoy what they're enjoying. If you don't like the food, but at least you tried, and at least now you know. I remember I had squid ink rice, like rice cooked in squid ink. Like, so the rice was black. It was so good. But at first looking at it, I was like, squid ink? It's cooked in squid ink? Like, literally squid ink cooked in it. And I was like, you know, but one of the best meals I had in Spain. Some people I was with, they didn't want to try it because it's like, I don't know, I don't really like to try new things. But you know, One of like the best things you can do for yourself is trying so many new things. Like Spain has these things called tapas, and it's like all these like little, like here I guess we would call them appetizers, and they're all these like little like small portions of like different foods, and you can try so many of those. At first when you see some of the food, you could be like, oh, I'm not trying that, like, oh, I'm not gonna eat pig what, like goat what, this is what animal, like, you know. And if you're not open to it, I guess whatever. But me, I tried as much new stuff as I could, and it's literally like the best memories I have. I'll never forget the squid ink rice. It was such a new thing and it was so good. So that's another big thing. Not only in terms of food, but like things that the locals are doing, like going to like a flamenco show, or like, you know, just try new things. If you're in someone's country, don't be that person who's like, oh, I don't know, not for me. I guess if you're that person, whatever. But for me, I feel like you enjoy another country the most if you try what the people in the country are having and trying, and like that's their reality. You want to be a part of it, try it, okay? Like that's how I had the most fun, trying new things, because you're only there once. You're gonna come back to your comfort of America, cheeseburgers and fries in 2 seconds, so you better like make the most of your time in whatever country you're in. And along the same lines of trying new things, it's also important to immerse yourself in the culture of whatever country you're in. For example, in Spain, like at first, like it was like, oh, like, you know, I'm not from here, oh, like I don't want to speak Spanish, like they might think like, you know, they hate Americans or whatever. But like at first we would go to a restaurant and we would see a menu and they would have an English version and a Spanish version. They look at us like, oh, Americans, and we'd be trying to read the Spanish version. They're like, you want English? And like we'd be like, yeah, like, you know, and we'd order in English, like, you know, it was so bad. We'd point like, I want this, like in English. But then after a while I was like, I am in Spain, I'm here to learn Spanish, and I'm here, you know, I'm in Spain, for crying out loud. So we would go to restaurants. What would I get? The Spanish menu. I'd be reading it and I'm like, oh, not sure what this is. What is this? If we Google the picture of the meal, be like, okay, it looks good. It has like, oh, this one has pork in it, this one has this, and like you can see, like if you Google the thing in Spanish, it'll show you a picture of it, like, you know. And some of the best meals I had were things I didn't even know what they were, but you just have to like immerse yourself in the culture. For example, speaking Spanish and ordering at restaurants in Spanish, talking to waiters in Spanish, like, you know, little things like talking to your taxi driver in Spanish. Some people do understand English and they'll try to talk to you in English because they want to learn English and they're trying to practice their English, but you're in their country to learn their language. So speak Spanish or speak whatever language they speak. If you can speak it, try. Like, they can laugh at you, sure, because you might have a funny accent, but okay, you're never gonna see them again, probably. So just use your time there effectively and really practice what you're there for. Another thing, for example, there was a festival in the town that I was staying in. It was like the festival of kids, celebration of children, such a cute thing. And all the kids were playing, we were just walking around, the firefighters were spraying the kids with like the hoses. It was crazy, but it was so cute. And like, I used to play volleyball in high school, so like, oh, I love volleyball. And one of the girls that lived with me, she played volleyball too. So we were walking by and they had a volleyball court. And my friend Elizabeth was like, oh, I'm gonna go play volleyball. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I'll play too. We put our stuff down on the side of the road, and the volleyball thing was in the street. The street was blocked off. This volleyball court was set up in the street, and all the little Spanish kids were looking at us like, and we were like, oh, like, yo quiero jugar volleyball, like, you know, and we want to play volleyball with you guys, like, and they were like, okay, like, and then we played volleyball with them for, I swear, like 3 hours. 3 hours we played, and there was all these parents on the side, and like it was great. And we learned like, oh, like they'd be like, in volleyball, you know, in America, we're like, oh, I go, or like, I got it, like, oh, go too, like, you know, all this stuff. And the kids would be like, the kids were saying like the same things but like in Spanish. So we were learning like, oh, like out, like we were learning like, oh, I got it, like, oh, me. They're like, oh, set here, like set over here. We learned all of those little phrases. I forgot them now, but in the moment I was on the court, I said I was speaking Spanish, and everyone was like, some of the kids were like laughing when I would speak Spanish. They're like, what? Because they didn't think I could speak or understand, and they were so surprised, but they loved it. Kids are some of the best people you can encounter in foreign countries because they're so open to teaching you and they love it. So yeah, so that was one of the, like, I think that was probably one of my favorite memories, studying abroad, playing volleyball with the local kids in the neighborhood and all the parents watching. They were loving it, and every single time I would hit the ball, they'd be like, mato, mato, like she kill it, like something like that. But yeah, they're like, oh, she killed it, like, you know. But it was so cute. But immerse yourself in the culture as much as you can. Speaking Spanish when you can, doing the activities that they're doing, trying to speak Spanish to people. That's one of the most beneficial things that you can do when you study abroad in another country. Immerse yourself in their country and in their culture. Okay, one of the last things that I want to touch on when we as Americans go to foreign countries to study abroad or do whatever, like, don't be obnoxious, don't be rude, stereotypical Americans, okay? And I know it doesn't seem like I should have to say this, but when I tell you that when I was in Spain, every single time there was other Americans, I just knew. And not even just because, oh, I heard English, but like, we would be sitting on the metro, like the subway, and one thing I noticed was that, like, okay, personal space doesn't really exist, like, in Spain. However, like, people would be close and stuff, but they'd be quiet. Like, everyone was just quiet. No one really yelled or anything. And, like, sometimes it'd be late at night, and here come these girls walking onto the train. It was usually, like, you know, like, the blonde-haired girls walking onto the train, and like, oh my god, like, da-da-da-da-da, like, you know, yelling and stuff, and everyone on the train would look, and, like, some people would roll their eyes, and then it was obvious they were Americans. It would be, like, American girls from, like, New York, like, if you're, I don't know, I feel like when you're American, you should, when you go to other countries, try to fit in, because, you know, so many people feel certain ways about America, especially with Trump as president. When I tell you, a lot of people were like, oh, do you like Trump? And we was like, no. They're like, oh, well, you're from America, why did you guys vote for him? And I'm like, oh my goodness, you don't understand, a lot of people don't like him there. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yes. But like, all they know is that you're American, they see your president on TV, and they're already feeling some type of way. So then you're gonna come on the train or whatever and be obnoxious. It was just like, oh my goodness, it got tiring. So just like, be aware of your surroundings. Like, just know where you are, and, like, you know, don't be obnoxious in someone else's country. Another very important point is to respect the culture of where you're going. Like, this comes in so many different forms. For example, in Spain, I have a friend and she has a lot of dietary restrictions, so she can eat a lot of things the way they were made. So at first we were going to restaurants and she'd be like, oh, can I get this but without this, like, and without this, and can you exchange this for this? And the waiter would be like, and we would be like, oh, like, you know, in America you can do that, but there, no, like, you don't ask to alter a meal. You eat it as it is, or you order what you can't eat. That's just how it is. So you just have to know, and don't be rude, and don't bring, like, your American ways to another country. If that's how they are, like, if they're not altering the meal, don't throw a fit, don't get mad, just know, like, that's how they are, okay? And another thing I learned in Spain was that personal space doesn't exist, okay? Like, you will be walking in the street and someone will bump, like, when I tell you bump your shoulder so hard, and you'll, like, your body will shift, and you turn around, because in America, if someone bumps you like that, it's like, oh, you want to tussle. But over there, it's like you were in the way, and they keep walking. They don't even turn around after they'll bump you. Like, in the store, they all bump each other like that, because if it's just, like, no space, so, like, they'll just bump you. Even if there is space, it's not offensive to them if someone, like, hits their shoulder a little bit, or if, like, you're on the subway, someone will literally be, like, this close to you. Like, hey, what's up? Oh, how you doing today? Good? Oh, yeah. Just that close. I have a friend, she fell asleep, she was asleep, here's a stranger, she all up on him like this. The man was minding his business, looking around. Like, personal space, like, it's not a thing. Like, if someone bumps you, it's not rude. So, like, I'd be like, oh, pardon, like, perdona, man. They're, like, looking at me like, why are you, like, saying excuse me? Like, it's not that deep, like, to them. So just know, you gotta know things like that when you go to another country. Like, not everyone is like America. People don't, there in Spain, when you sneeze, people in public aren't gonna say bless you. Like the word is like salud, but they won't say that. And if someone sneezes and you're like, oh, salud, they're like looking at you like, what? But, like, I don't know, so many things in American culture don't translate over to another country's culture. So just know those things. Don't be the obnoxious Americans that go to another country and not know, and, like, not be prepared about their social norms, customs, and you're gonna get offended when someone does something, but that's normal there, you know? So at some schools you can choose to live with the host family, or you can choose to live in like a college apartment or a college dorm or something. For me, I only got the choice of host family, so we had to live with the host family. So we commuted to school every day from our host family's house, yada yada yada. But you never know what type of host family you're going to get. So my host family, I mean, they were nice, they were cute little ladies. There's 2 ladies, not sure if they were a couple, they didn't really want to talk about it, so we never asked, just respected them. And we all got our own rooms. I got a really nice room, my other friends got really nice rooms too. It was super cute and it was super nice. It was like a kind of like an antique shop. Like the house was like an antique shop, and it was really fancy with all this art, and it was really cute. But the ladies were very particular about the way they kept their house. They're like, I don't like you brushing your hair in your room because it gets hair on the floor. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And she's like, and not in the bathroom either, because we don't want hair in the bathroom. I was like, where am I supposed to brush my hair? And she's like, oh, just leave your hair in a bun. So I don't know, like, you know, just little things. You never know what type of host family you're gonna get. Some people have beautiful, great, amazing host families that they want to be adopted by and live with for the rest of their lives. Other people don't like going home because they don't really like their host families. I got put with 2 other girls, so even though my experience was like, like the other 2 girls, like we're all together, and it was like, oh, if we didn't get enough food, we all suffered together type thing. Versus this other boy, they overfed him, and like the grandma, his host parents would leave for the weekend. The grandma across town would come and bring him all this food to eat and leave him meals in the fridge, like, you know, super duper loving. Another guy like had a house full of kids. Ours had no kids. So it's literally, everyone has a different experience. Everyone has a different experience. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's a wrap. Those are the biggest things that stood out to me when I was in Spain, and just like when I was reflecting on my time there, and I was like, okay, these are things I want other people to know. Like, it could get pricey, the social norms, the food, like being in the culture, just like, you know, all those things. And a lot of things you don't learn until you get there. And something I should emphasize is that every single person that travels abroad has their own personal experience. Like, I went on the trip, I think there was probably like 30 of us. I'm pretty sure my experience was very different than someone else. Like, some people went to Lisbon and I went to Paris, and like, you know, so my experience in Paris, like, oh, I almost got detained in Paris. This girl probably could have got proposed to in another country she went to, you know. So everyone just has a different experience. Some people good, some people bad. Like, I think that's one of my best memories in my whole life so far, just being able to go to a different continent, and then visiting all these different countries with people from school. I made friends with people I had never seen on campus before. Crazy. Like, now I have this beautiful bond with these girls, and before I barely waved to them at school. Isn't that crazy? So, and now we travel to Europe together. It's literally like a life-changing event. And oh my goodness, please study abroad. Whether it's for 2 weeks, you just visit, like go abroad for 2 weeks, whether you go for 6 weeks, whether you go for an entire semester, which I wish I did. I recommend studying abroad. So many people say that, but literally, especially you guys who watch these videos, you're probably still way early in your college experience, probably haven't started college. You have so much time to like be like, I want to study abroad when I get to college, and you will figure out a semester to study abroad, or you will find time to study abroad. Because I've looked at mine. I was a sophomore. I was like, I want to study abroad. When can I? I already signed up for a semester program, so I couldn't anymore. I was like, I'm doing summer. Yeah, it was expensive, but this experience was so worth it to me. So literally, you just have to know about yourself and know what you want out of your college experience. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Like, comment, subscribe. Help us get to 1,000 subscribers. That'd be so cool to get to by the end of this summer. Ask questions if you have any other questions about studying abroad or anything like that, or how my trip was, or how Tolu's 2-week experience was. Just comment and let us know, and we will get back to you. All right, now I'm gonna be signing out as Naeche of ToluNaeche. Bye.